So you're thinking about moving to Fort Worth, Texas, but you want to know, is this the city for me? Is this the right place for me to move to? Well, in this video, I am going to take you through and show you a few pros and a few cons, give you a little bit of the good and the bad, the yin and the yang about Fort Worth, Texas. And if you stick around to the end, I'm going to share with you a little fact about Fort Worth that most people don't know. And we're getting after it right now. If this is your first time to the channel and you want to know more about living in and around Fort Worth, Texas, then go ahead and subscribe below. Click the bell for notifications so you can be the first to know about the current market conditions here in Fort Worth, Texas. Hi, I am Elizabeth Oliva. This is the Fort Worth Home Tours, and we get calls and texts from people just like you every day, and we absolutely love it. So whether you are moving in 9 days or 90 days, go ahead and give us a call, send us a text, send us an email, or book a Zoom. The description of how to do that is below, and we would love to help you make a smooth move to Fort Worth. So as I mentioned, I'm going to talk about the good and the bad, the pros and the cons, the yin and the yang about living in Fort Worth, Texas. I have lived here pretty much all my life, so I do know quite a bit about this city, and I could talk for hours about everything. But I want to just share a few of the pros and cons with you to see if this might be the right place or the wrong place for you to move to. So pro number one is cost of living here in Fort Worth, Texas. We have a really, really good cost of living. Right now, it's about 5% below the national average. Food is cheaper, transportation is cheaper, gas is cheaper, housing is cheaper. Groceries are cheaper here in Fort Worth, Texas. We have a lot of options for all of that. So living here in Fort Worth, Texas can be a great option for your pocketbook, no doubt about it. And, after living here all of my life, I can tell you that you can find deals all over the place. I am a big resale person, so I love to shop at resale shops. Could be a Goodwill, could be a thrift store, a consignment store. I love those options when I can get a really good deal. And we have a lot of those here in Fort Worth, both for men and women and for kids. There's one called Clothes Mentor, which is like a lot of teenage kids. You've got, of course, Goodwill, and you've got some high-end. You actually can find some high-end stuff at Goodwill. I've done that, actually. I found some really good finds for $5. So Fort Worth is a great place to live because of the cost of living. So pro number two is jobs, jobs, jobs. We have the jobs here in Fort Worth, Texas. We have major industry here. We have healthcare, we have telecom, we have defense industry, we have aviation, we have the airports, we have a couple of major airports, then we have smaller airports, we have finance, big hub for finance companies here as well. Of course, we've got Amazon. That's a big employer in the area as well. So we have jobs, and that is why a lot of people are moving here to Fort Worth, Texas and the surrounding area, because we have the jobs. And because we have the jobs, we are experiencing massive growth in our population. So right now, I think Fort Worth itself, city of Fort Worth, is around 1 million people. The county of Tarrant is around 2 million. And I believe the whole metropolitan area is around 7 or 8 million. But on the Fort Worth side, it's about 1 million in the city of Fort Worth proper. We have a lot of suburbs, but that's Fort Worth proper. So jobs, jobs, jobs is our pro number two. Pro number three for living in Fort Worth, Texas, we're friendly here. We're really friendly here. I love to talk about this because I say that on this side of the Metroplex, we Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, there's most people when they say, oh, I live, most people outside of this area, when they hear, oh, I live in Dallas, there's a bigger area than just Dallas. There are a lot of other cities, and there is a big rivalry between Dallas and Fort Worth. So we think we're friendlier over here in Fort Worth. We believe we're more laid back. We're more easygoing. We believe it's a slower pace of life over here too, and we're very unpretentious over in Fort Worth. You could go to a local bank and you could have a guy coming in with a beat up pickup with dirt on his boots and his jeans, and he might be a billionaire. You never know here in Fort Worth. That's the kind of people we have. We have the quiet money in parts of town, and we're just laid back. And Dallas is more of a faster paced, glitzier, cosmopolitan atmosphere. So if that's what you're looking for, head east. But if you want something more laid back, and there's a saying that we have called where the West begins, and that's Fort Worth. It's one of the sayings about Fort Worth, where the West begins. And I just love the fact that we have really friendly people. So that's our pro number 3. Pro number 4 is one of the biggest reasons people move to Texas, and it is no state income tax. There are a few states in our nation that have that, and we are definitely one of them. It's a big driver for people moving to our area, and it's pretty attractive, I got to tell you, to have no state income tax, and that has been a huge attraction for a lot of people moving from California, moving from New York, moving wherever they're moving from. They hear that we don't have a state income tax, and they know they're immediately saving money. So pro number 4 is no state income tax. Now, to dovetail off of that, I'm going to talk about the cons. Con number 1 is we have property taxes, and they are kind of high. Property taxes, anywhere from 2 to 3% of the valuation of your home. Now, that's not the market value, that is the tax assessor value. And every year you can fight that, and whatever they assess your value to be, you can go fight that, and you can protest your taxes, because we have a big old hubbub going on right now about that in our state government. And we did increase our homestead exemption. So what that means is, when you buy a home in Texas, if you are living in it as your primary residence, you can claim the homestead exemption. Okay, so it used to be you could take $40,000 off of your valuation, and then you'd be valued on that $40,000 less amount. Now it's moved to $100,000. It's increased to $100,000 off of that amount. So if your home is valued at $400,000, they take that $100,000 if you have that homestead exemption, and so it's now valued, you're assessed on $300,000 instead of $400,000. Now, there are some other exemptions as well, tax exemptions. If you're over 65, you get a tax exemption. If you are a 100% disabled veteran, you get complete exemption, which is an amazing thing for our veterans who gave so much to our country. That is a huge benefit that they have here in our state of Texas. No property tax if they're 100% disabled. That is how it stands right now as I'm making this video. Hopefully that'll never change. But if you can do the homestead exemption, if it's not an investment property, that right there is going to save you $100,000 right now. We just passed that. So $100,000 on your tax assessment that you're going to have every year. So it's kind of a high amount, when you look at the taxes, but when you look at we have no income tax, you're saving that. So we're kind of throwing it over on the property tax, but we're still trying to reevaluate the best number for the property tax, because people were kind of not happy. They were protesting a lot about how high, because our values have gone up. So then our taxes have gone up. And in my area, half of my property tax, pretty close to half, is for the ISD, is for the schools. Okay. Then we have the county, we have the city, we have some others, but a lot of it is the schools, which is huge. So property tax, yeah, that is definitely one of our big cons. Con number 2 is traffic. Because we have jobs here and we have people moving here, we have gotten more congested with traffic. And I've seen it. Like I said, I've grown up here. I've seen it happen. They're always working on the roads. I can tell you from as far back as I can remember, they have always been working on the roads, and in a good way. They've been expanding, they've been adding tolls, they've been adding express lanes and all of that. Now, hopefully they're going to keep up with the population growth, and they're going to continue to do that. I was actually with a client this week, and I said, I don't understand why, when they're doing the construction, why they, instead of just going 1 or 2 lanes bigger, they just go 5. They just make the thing like 20 lanes across, because that is what we're going to need one day. We are going to need that because we have that kind of population growth. We're supposed to double in population in 20 years, I believe. It's something like that. It's a pretty huge amount. So traffic can be an issue. However, depending on where you live in Fort Worth, there are usually several ways to get places, and there are toll roads, alternatives. So for instance, if you're wanting to north and south from downtown and you're in downtown Fort Worth, you could go Interstate 35, which gets really congested, but it's not a toll. You don't have to pay. Then the Chisholm Trail toll, you can pay that. It's not too bad right now. It's a toll road. but it can zip you right in or right out of Fort Worth really fast. So you've got that alternative. Yeah, you got to pay. Then there are areas as you go to the airport, you've got the opportunity to get on the Tex Express. So let me tell you about the Tex Express. This is a con, but it's something you can do if you have to. If you are in Fort Worth or around and you need to get to the Dallas-Fort Worth airport, you have to make that flight and you're going on Highway 121 or 820 East or one of those, you can get on the Tex Express. So you got to watch it though, because the amount fluctuates with the flow of traffic or how much traffic is on the road. So if you approach that sign, that lit up sign, and it says $6 or $8 or something like that, that means it's a little bit congested. And if you are in a hurry and you've got to make that flight, I would hop on the Tex Express. I would just do it. Just bite the bullet and do it. I have seen that area in between like the airport and Fort Worth go as high as $15, $20 for a stretch on the Tex Express, depending on the time of day. Like high traffic time, like 5 o'clock on a Friday. Okay. If it's 5 o'clock on a Friday, if I'm not going to a flight, I'm not taking that thing. I'm just gonna keep going slow and make it home and put on a podcast and be fine. But if you have to get somewhere, you can hop on the Tex Express and get there. Now we do have like the Chisholm Toll going south, and it also goes north a little bit. It does not fluctuate. It is what it is. When you hop on there, you know from point to point it's X amount. So you don't have to worry about that fluctuating. And we have other areas that are the same. On the 121 toll, it doesn't fluctuate either. Okay, so we do have areas that don't fluctuate. Like the I-35 going from downtown up to the north side of town, that's a Tex Express, so it does fluctuate. So keep that in mind. It is a con, but it is a pro. If you need to get somewhere fast, you can do that. And it's really easy to get the toll tag. We have different retail locations where you can walk in and get the toll. You may be able to do it online as well. You can put it on auto refill every $40. You know, when you use it up, it'll refill it for you. So traffic, yeah, we got a little traffic. So con number 3, our summers are hot. I don't know if you've ever been down here in the summer, but it is hot. Now, I was born in Alabama and I grew up here in Texas. So you want to talk hot and humid? That would be Birmingham, Alabama, where I was born. Hot and humid would be Houston. Okay, so we're not as humid as those areas. We're definitely not as dry as Phoenix, because I've lived out there and it's very arid. So we do have some humidity, sometimes like 50%. You know, if it rains, of course, it's more. It could be down to in the teens, but we do get hot summers and we do get mosquitoes. So keep that in mind. And we kind of only have 2 seasons, all right? So kind of, I mean, we have really, really hot weather all the way into what most people would consider fall. Okay, so September, October, November. I'm doing this video, it's December, it was like 80 degrees today. So, but then when we get into January and February and March is when we might see some colder weather. Sometimes before that, in the fall, the leaves change a little bit. Not as vibrant as you'd find in other places, but sometimes we have a few leaf change colors going on, and it's the best patio weather. So overall, you know, just keep in mind we have hot summers, but then we have some amazing fall days. We have amazing spring days, perfect patio weather. And we here in Fort Worth, we love a good patio to go eat on and hang out on. So patio weather's great for a few months out of the year. Coldest weather is probably January, February, March, and we usually get a lot of wind in March. Then we have April, May, June. Starts getting kind of starts warming up in June. Then, June, July, August. August is probably the hottest. Okay, August, September, but definitely August is when you might get those over 100-degree days. We might have a stretch of those like we did last time. So just be prepared. We use our AC a lot here in Texas. We use it a lot, no doubt about it. You want to make sure you have a good AC unit in the home that you purchase, for sure. So con number 4 is the distance to the major airports. So if you're in the heart of Fort Worth, it could take you 30, 40 minutes to get to the airport. In traffic time, it could take longer. Okay, if you're going to Dallas Love, that's where Southwest Airlines flies out of, and I think Virgin Airlines and maybe some Delta flights, but mainly Southwest. That's the only one Southwest flies out of, is Love Field. It's a cool airport, and I love riding Southwest because you can get in and out pretty easy once you get there, and there's like the parking spot you can park and pay, and it's not too bad as far as cost. But getting from Fort Worth to Dallas, it might take you an hour to get to that airport. If you're in Fort Worth and you're going to Love Field, the DFW airport, which is kind of in the middle of Fort Worth and Dallas, that's not as far, but traffic, and that's where those Tex Express, those toll roads can help you out a little bit. So you're not right next to the airport in Fort Worth, but if you're not traveling a lot, it shouldn't be a big deal. And especially if you work remote and you're not traveling like hardly at all, don't have to worry about it. It's just on a vacation here or there. So that is con number 4. And I could go on and on about many different pros and cons. If you are from Fort Worth and you can think of a pro and or a con that I missed, go ahead and leave a comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. If there's something big blaring that I actually missed that I should be talking about. And so I was going to talk about a little known fact about Fort Worth. So little known fact, unless you're from here, you might know it. We have the world's largest honky tonk here in Fort Worth in the stockyards. It's called Billy Bob's, and it is world renowned. Everybody who's anybody, especially in country music, has played there, from Dolly Parton to Reba to George Strait to you name it, they played there. And it's been around forever, and you can actually take a tour during the day and get all the history of the Billy Bob's venue. And it is huge. I've taken that tour. It's absolutely huge. It has several stages. It has a restaurant. It has, I don't even know how many bars inside there. And it also has the outfits. There have been outfits that have been donated from different singers through the years. Some really cool outfits that you can see that are, you know, like vintage memories. And like if you go to the green room behind the stage, you see all kinds of cool pictures of everybody who's anybody who's played, especially country music, sometimes other music. So if you didn't know that before, Billy Bob's is a place you need to visit if you've never been to Fort Worth and you're coming to look around and see if this is somewhere. It is in the middle of the biggest tourist attraction we have in Fort Worth, which is the Stockyards area. So it's going to have a lot about the history, a beginning of Fort Worth. It's going to talk about the cattle drive and all of that. That's in the Stockyards. So those of us who have lived here all our lives, I actually had not gone to Billy Bob's until I took a tour. I never went there. I've never gone there for a show or anything like that. I thought I was the only one, and I ran into a lady just this week who said she had never gone either. So I'm not the only one. But it is the world's largest honky tonk, or country music venue, club, I guess you could say. So I hope you've enjoyed these pros and cons of living in Fort Worth, Texas. And if they brought you some value, go ahead and subscribe below and click the bell for notifications. And I would love to hear more about what I can do to help you if you're thinking of moving to Fort Worth. So send me a text, call me, shoot me an email, schedule a Zoom. All of that is in the description below. So until next time, this is Elizabeth Oliva. I would love to show you around town.